sister and always wanted to help Sam right from the very word go. When she was tiny, I wanted to help her walk, I wanted to help feed her, and Sam was always a very independent child. She never wanted my help, and every time, even as a baby, she wanted to do things on her own. And when tenía una historia que se me ha ido de la cabeza, que era actually, when she was very small, she had this, when she was young, she had this very low tolerance of pain, so she would faint all the time. So I was often called in class to go and pick her up and take her home, because the slightest bit of pain, like once I remember she hit her leg on the side of the desk going to give her teacher some homework, and that moment of pain she just passed out and fainted. So she was sent to infirmary, and then the infirmary called me to take her home. But she hated to be fussed over. She hated any kind of attention, and hated me to play the older sister role. Didn't like any kind of fuss made over her. Joder, es que esto...
Venga.
Well, we grew up in kind of a bohemian kind of family. My parents were both artist agents and represented a wide range of different illustrators and artists, and so we always had, because for a long time they had a gallery outside of home, and then they had the office inside the house. And we regularly had parties and ongoing Sunday lunches that started at lunchtime and ended at dinner time. And there was always a very joyful and a lot of joyful ambiance in our house, and friends and laughter and family, and it was just a lovely atmosphere. My father años, ella como 14, 13 y medio o algo así, y bueno, me invitaron a una fiesta, y entonces he dicho a mis padres, me la puedo llevar, y entonces vino conmigo, y bueno, esto no lo voy a contar a cámara, pero a mí me invitaron a una raya de coca y en una sala, y la dejé en la fiesta sentada en un sofá, y vuelvo a cabo de, no sé, un cuarto de hora. Y la veo que me empieza a decir que está súper mareada y que no se encuentra bien, y yo con su pasado de desmayarse y tal, digo, hostia, entonces la acompaño al lavabo y le digo, pero ¿qué has hecho mientras no estaba en la sala? Y me contó que se había comido un trozo de chocolate, pero que pensaba que era chocolate de comer, pero era hashish.
Era hashish.
Y estaba en el lavabo.
Tenía un pelo.
Y yo pensé, Dios mío, que les cuento a mis padres ahora si se me la palma en el lavabo, ¿sabes? ¿Pero qué has hecho? Ay, pero no sabía a chocolate. ¿Cómo es que pensabas que era chocolate? Y te la has comido todo.
¿Y ella qué dijo?
Bueno, es que pensaba que era chocolate y no sé.
Bueno, cuéntamelo.
When I was about 18, I moved to Italy to learn Italian, and I was an au pair. And my parents came over to Rome to see me with Sam for Christmas. And we rented an apartment, and some friends of mine invited me to a party. And I asked my parents if I could take Sam along. My cousin was also with us at the time, so we all went to the party, and I remember going off in another room and dancing, and leaving Sam sitting on a sofa, and after a while she comes up to me and tells me that she's not feeling very well, so I go to the toilet with her, and she's just like being sick, and I don't understand a thing. I said, what have you done? What have you done? I ate some chocolate. There was some chocolate on the table and I just ate it. Chocolate. I realised that she'd eaten a lump of hashish. And I said, but Sam, that doesn't taste like chocolate. How come you ate all that? And there I was thinking, oh my God, what am I going to tell my parents? My sister's died in a party because she's eaten a lump of hashish. But anyway, in the end, everything turned out all right. But she was having a terrible whitey and vomiting and feeling really sick. I just didn't understand what was going on.
En ese rollo. Vale.
Talking back of when Sam was younger, she like most teenagers, she just loved to sleep. I mean, it was sleep all morning and hated to be disturbed and was in a really dreadful mood if you woke her up. But I remember we would sit on a Saturday or Sunday morning and watch all the old films and all the old Elvis films and Ava Gardner films and Marilyn Monroe. We both loved to watch all these things together. She really loved glamour, the high life, I think, you could say. She really liked labels. She liked expensive. Everything had to be expensive, and if it wasn't expensive, it wasn't good enough. I remember once taking her. She came to visit me in Barcelona when we first moved here, and I took her to eat a paella in the Barceloneta, and it was obviously a cheap paella, and it was filled with yellow colouring and not saffron. And she said that it was a pile of shit, this paella, because it was just too yellow, and a paella shouldn't be that yellow. And she was only very young. I think she can't have had that much knowledge of how a paella should have been, and Spanish cooking in those days wasn't very well known. But she just wouldn't have it. It was a shitty paella, and she wouldn't eat it. And she was very like that. She had her ideas that something was not nice. There was no way.
Eso es algo. Vamos.
So Sam and I both went to the French lycée in London, and I can't remember exactly what age. I think she must have been 12, 13 when she was being a little bit rebellious, and so my parents thought it was best to take her out of the lycée and put her in a small private school. And I think she lasted a couple of years there, and it was decided that probably studies was not her forte, and she decided to follow a youth training scheme as a photographer's assistant, and that's how she ended up in the fashion business. She started working for a fashion photographer. His name was Max Bradley. That's the first fashion photographer I remember her working with in the Isle of Dogs. And then I think she worked for another one, but basically she got her first, she got landed into the deep end there because there's not often a lot of money in fashion photography, and so she had to learn how to do makeup and styling and dressing the models. So that's where she gained a lot of her knowledge. From there, she wanted to become a fashion stylist and had started doing a few jobs as assistant stylist for fashion magazines. And then her best friend Sarah Murray went off to Paris, and she went to Paris with Sarah and shared a flat with Kate Moss, and got offered a job in the modelling agency that Sarah was being represented by, which was called FAM at the time, and got stuck in fashion and becoming a fashion booker, a model booker, sorry.
Venga.
So after she, between Paris and being a fashion photographer's assistant, she then went to work for an agency called Camilla Arthur's agency. I can't remember exactly the name of the company, and they looked after photographers and hair and makeup stylists and fashion stylists, and she was their agent basically, or booker, or whatever you want to call it.
Vale.
Bueno, empiezo que se montó la ONG, ¿no?
Sí, sí, eso es.
Okay. So after Sam's death, Sam and Ruby's death, my family decided to set up a charity in their memory to help disadvantaged girls, mainly girls because they were both girls that had passed away, and because in countries like Thailand, girls don't have as much possibility of an education than boys do. Girls are always put aside. So we set up the Sam and Ruby charity, and with my parents and Sarah, Sam's best friend, and my cousin, we went to Thailand a couple of times, and Patrice, Sam's husband, was out there. So we were looking for the appropriate places to set up the charity and who to help, and so on and so forth. And after a year or so, we'd raised quite a lot of money, and I knew that money would stop coming in. It was going to be very hard to start to carry on getting fundraising for a charity on the basis that these two unknown people, not famous people, had passed away. Because every day we know that there are different disasters and bigger causes and so on and so forth. So I was kind of racking my brain that what could I do to start some kind of merchandising product that would bring in regular income for the charity. It wasn't easy because we were thinking, you know, what did Sam like to do? She liked cooking, something that was related to her personality. And, you know, I didn't think I could start a cookbook, or even though Sam enjoyed cooking immensely. I mean, from a very early age, she would bake most wonderful cakes. She must have been about 10, and she would always make wonderful lemon meringue pies, and would absolutely love cooking when I hated it as a child. I really couldn't understand this passion she had for spending hours in the kitchen baking these elaborate cakes. Used to find it so boring, but she had this passion for the cake baking. So with Sarah, we were thinking, you know, something to do with her diaries, because she always wrote these beautiful travel books, travel diaries, where she would do all these collages and so on and so forth. And I knew that she would, because she was obsessively taking photographs on holiday. She was always photographing and filming. She always had a mini DV camera, and she'd be filming people all the time. So I think it was in 2008 or 2009, I finally managed to go and see Patrice and ask him to dig up all the video cassettes that she and he had filmed together on their various holidays and fashion shows behind the scenes. And so Patrice gave me all these cassettes that I spent hours and hours and hours viewing, and first of all decided to make an homage to her, a small video that my friend Nani Encarna helped me make, and that was our first video. But then I didn't think that was enough. I mean, as I saw this video, that's when the title Sam Says Enjoy Life came up, because I thought, well, look at her. you can just see in these images that she lived life to the fullest, and she's always having fun, and she's always got a smile. I'm not saying that she was never a grumpy cow. Yes, she was, and could be really moody, and if she thought that you were in the wrong, she would stop talking to you. She had and also she had a strong personality, and it took her a long time to forgive. But so little by little, together with Bea, who's behind the camera now, we decided to make little stories out of the rest of the material that was available. And from these little films, I mean, the original idea was to do a blog, and it would be a blog that we would share with all her friends, and people would upload photographs.
Segundo. Vale, cuando quieras.
So we made the first homage video, kind of video clip, with loads of little editing, loads of different images of Sam's life together, and we called it Sam Says Enjoy Life. And I remember going on holiday afterwards with my parents to Chile, and talking to them about how I thought that we could create different, I wasn't quite sure exactly how the thing would pan out, but I thought that we could create different drawings of Sam using the basis of the little films, and try and either create some kind of cartoon character of her, and from that try and make some kind of merchandising. And that's when the idea came that she was always with her dog. Lulu and her were always together, and estoy tan harta de so with my father, he started thinking of different. I was consulting my parents because they'd both been artist agents, and so we contacted an artist friend of my father's who thought could have been the ideal person to do the drawing. He then replied that he wasn't the appropriate person, so I kept on searching for different artists, and then realised that it was probably best to not get my parents involved, as it was kind of painful for them. But Bea and I then started editing a whole bunch of different little stories with all the videos that there were, and from each of them we would give them a little title. La Vie en Rose is one, because Sam loved to wear pink and bright colours, so if it wasn't pink it was red or yellow, or you could see how exuberant she was with all, just by the colours that she loved to wear. And little by little more ideas started coming, but obviously financially I didn't have the money to back the ideas. So I befriended a Catalan artist called Benjamin Tous, and we started together with Benjamin to try and do a calendar, a Sam Says calendar, with her and Lucien Le Chien. So once a month I would put some money aside and go and work with Benjamin, and we'd think of one story for the 12 months of this calendar. Eventually I wasn't very satisfied with the outcome of the calendar, because I think a lot of outside influence, my parents didn't really see that Sam was reflected in the drawings, so the calendar never came to an end. we finished it, but we never printed it, and it's yet another thing on the back burner or on the files. And I came up with another idea of why don't I do an artist, well, going back to our mother, who was French, or who is French, and as you probably know, all English people call French people frogs, because the French used to eat frogs' legs, and so over the years, when my mother, it started as a joke. People would give her a little present of a frog, and then over the years she had the biggest frog collection, or one of the biggest frog collections. I remember, I can't remember what magazine it was, but they came over and did a photo shoot on our house, because it was quite an eccentric house full of different. My mother not only collected frogs, she collected Art Deco ladies, statues of ladies, teapots, frogs, antiques, and the house was just absolutely cluttered with objects. And as my parents were artist agents, quite a great number of the artists gave my mother as a present different drawings of frogs in their own style. So we had, so this is what kind of lit up in my head. Well, why don't we have Sam drawn in different styles by different people? People that can capture her energy, her special energy and joy for life and happiness, and make the most of it while you're here. Live life to the full. But each different artist could represent this in a different artistic form. Didn't have to be a portrait of Sam. A portrait is like a photograph. That's not what we wanted to get, or what I wanted to achieve was to have Sam portrayed by different artists and different styles.